in Zambia last year, AfriSafe, I told people that they need to see where the money is going to, because where are these investors taking this money, and what is their interest there, and are my skills actually skewed and even matching with the investors' interests. I don't decide at the end of the year that I'm going to do XYZ. Everything that we are doing is planned 5, 4, 3 years ahead. As at now, I already know all the things we want to do next year. I'm not waiting for that 1st of December to make resolutions. If you want to make change in the society, do it right now. So we should learn the power of now and the power of doing things right now and being the change in the society that we want right now. There is no more time which is being manufactured.
I'm Vivian Boaz, and this is the EHS Unplugged podcast, the show where we share tips on home and workplace safety, environmental sustainability, and health and wellness tips. Join us as we explore these topics with industry experts and learn to create a safer and healthier world. Hi guys, my name is Vivian Boaz, and welcome back to another episode of the EHS Unplugged podcast. Now guys, I want you to imagine being exposed to anything that has the potential to cause harm, either in the workplace or in the home. Now, this is the reality for a majority of Kenyans who are dealing with hearing impairment. But what if I told you that there was a way that we could bridge this gap? Today, I'm sitting down with an individual who is doing exactly that. Ken Kogei, the brains behind Vital Signs Project. Karibu sana, Ken.
Thank you so much. Asante, thank you for having me over. That was a good introduction. Do I need to introduce myself more?
Please. I didn't do that introduction any justice.
Yeah, so Ken Kogei is my name. Director at Kaylee's Consortium Limited, dealing with safety and health. We do audits, trainings, consultancy services. I also serve as a chairperson of Workplace Safety Professionals Association of Kenya, commonly coined as WASPAC in short. Yeah, and we are currently running the Vital Signs Project, as you've stated, and it is aimed towards educating, and having resources for the deaf. Yeah, thank you.
I know Ken will get to that, but first, this has been long in coming. I know there are so many of our viewers who really want to know who Ken Kogei is. So you've been in the health and safety profession for years.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us are babies, by the way. So just tell us, I really want to know why you chose health and safety as a profession.
Well, I think that's it's quite an interesting question. I also get asked that outside there. And when you try and think deeply about it, there are many factors in play. But there's a lot of diversity in health and safety. It's a continuing need. And each of us in the society needs to actually contribute. And what we are doing is that we are not making the present actually 100% better, but we are creating a foundation where the future generations will find a better and a healthy society where they can grow and thrive. Without health and safety, then nothing else exists. Like with people who are sick, who will a company employ? Who will vote? Who will run projects? So everyone needs to be healthy. So for the society to exist, they need health and safety, which is a core thing. And I'm happy being in it. It makes me happy. And another thing that I also loved about health and safety is the boundaries are unlimited. I mean, I'm sure I'll retire without even exploiting much that is in my head about health and safety. Yeah.
But has it been worth it?
100%. I've counted my age and maybe the age that is remaining to retirement.
Mm-hmm.
And as I stated, is that I'm not going to still achieve all the things that is in my head that I would really wish to do. I'm a realist, but I'm doing my best and doing everything that I can with the available resources that I have. There's the best time for everything is called now. I don't know whether you've known about, there's something called the power of now. Yeah. So if you want to do something, just do it right now. There's nothing like tomorrow. Just do it right now. Yeah.
So already you're doing so much with your organization, with the one you're about to talk about, but you're also the president of WASPAC. What really inspired you to go in that direction?
Towards being president
Yes.
of WASPAC.
Yeah.
Well, when you look at health and safety as a profession, people who are practicing in this field, for some of us, we grew and we had our careers in a path that was self-learning. It's almost, I would associate it with machine learning. When a machine is learning, is not sure which direction it would go. It actually grows depending on the information it receives. So we didn't know even a lot of qualifications by the time we graduated. We didn't have people to guide us and all these things. So it is a gap where we found it, but we also don't want the future generations to actually face the difficulties which we faced. So there is a very important point that also safety and health professionals have a backing socially and professionally, where they can actually get information, they can actually get guidance, they can grow and even get things like legal support and so forth. Yeah, which was actually so much lacking. At WASPAC, we really wish to achieve a lot of things, but the problem is you cannot stop time. So, but during my tenure, we will achieve whatever we can achieve and guide those who will come, and we hope they'll carry the vision far much more ahead. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, I just want us to go back to your groundbreaking initiative that you've just rolled out. I don't know how many months it's been you've been implementing it for, but just tell us about that initiative and also the inspiration behind it.
Okay. So I know there are a lot of projects that people do in health and safety. And one thing about health and safety professionals is that they love helping. It's a profession that is more towards humanity, because health and safety it's actually a human right in itself. Everyone is entitled to a safe and a healthy environment. Also, being something that touches on human beings. Everyone has a right to what do we say, like, to our health and safety environment. That is exactly what I've said. So with the project that we do have for the deaf is when you look at all the people who are disadvantaged in the society, you look at those in the informal sector, the Juakali sector, what and all that. We already have a lot of initiatives geared towards them. But when you look at the deaf community in Kenya, nobody really gives a lot of attention to them because of the barriers of communication and access. And by the time I wouldn't blame the society a lot, but then you look at it that by the time we actually integrate with them and see that these are people facing this challenge at our age, it's a time or an age period whereby our capacity to grasp new languages has actually reduced. So it actually becomes more difficult to actually even to learn sign language to communicate with the deaf. So, and that's why you find that we really don't integrate so much as a society with the deaf community. We don't really have a lot of projects towards the deaf community. It has become a society that it's really more of them to them. So, and nobody really does trainings for them or and all that. So, and that is the gap which we are bridging. And we wish that they even get qualifications in health and safety, like really good qualifications, and even get employed. So I'm sure it will boost diversity, equality, and inclusion. Yeah.
And I was just that point of diversity and inclusion, because we have people in workplaces who actually have hearing problems, and there's no they don't have a positive environment where they can actually speak up and say, I have this problem, because I don't think employers are really empowered enough, or they have the knowledge to actually deal with these people or address their hearing problems, or create an environment where, yes, you have a hearing problem, but we can still work with you. Is that something you're also addressing through this program?
Well, when you look at our constitution and even even the government policy on employment and all that, a lot of organizations have actually employed DEI initiatives, making sure they've created opportunities for people who are disadvantaged. Yes, there is a challenge with for employers to work with people who are deaf. They would actually find it easier to work with somebody who has uh, a problem with a leg, what, and all that, another form of physical challenge, because they're able to communicate. Communication is in the society. If there's anything that holds the society solidly together, is communication. It's not something that is new. And even when you look back, when you talk about the Tower of Babel, the only way the Tower of Babel was destroyed was because now people spoke different languages. Yeah. So communication holds the society together. And the moment there is a lack of communication, that people find it hard to work together. Yeah.
So how is this training structured exactly? Maybe you could take us through that.
The structuring of the training, you mean the way it is carried out in the field? Okay, yeah. The trainings which we do currently are on health and safety, first aid, and fire safety. It's quite different from the contemporary trainings which we do, because you find the modes of communication for these trainings. For example, during a fire, you need to shout fire, fire. During first aid, there are codes maybe which you need to say. There's a way you're supposed to call someone or instruct someone. All these things cannot be done for people who are who have a hearing impairment or deaf. All these things cannot work for them. So we need to change the modules and actually create this awareness using a language which they understand, which is the Kenyan Sign Language. So, and that is what we do. But as we grow into the project, we are also learning from them and identifying their need. I don't want to say that I'm really so good with working with the deaf, because I'm also learning from them, because you need to understand what is their need. You want to help, but then you don't want to go with your own solutions. You also want to hear the solutions that they would wish to tell you, because learning is a continuous process. So we are also learning in the process and improving our training. We do it with sign language, but again, as the trainer is also using sign language, they also talk, because apart from seeing whatever the sign language interpreter is doing with their hands, they can also read lips. Yeah.
So your trainers,
Yes.
are they also? Do they also have hearing impairment? Do you work with the deaf as your trainers?
For the people who train, well, our trainers, they are not deaf, but now we have those who assist in the training. The reason why those who are the people who are actually our trainers are sign language interpreters, because we need to actually train them first. And they also advise us, this works, this does not work. They are more of our guide in the field. But once they get there, they actually have assistants who help them actually also pass messages properly, because we also have group works when we are there. Yeah. So they're able to, talk and discuss things among each other. And as I said, we are also learning from them. So we are getting to learn new things and how to also do things to make sure that the message actually reaches home. Yeah.
So obviously this is new, as you said, but it's much needed. What has the reception been like on ground?
Wow. I don't know the proper term to use, but I think it's quite overwhelming. It's a very huge niche, which we are actually pulling all resources, and we're actually putting a lot of effort to cover the gap. We might be busy through the whole year. We are currently working with about 6 volunteers right now, which we will have to actually increase, because the need is huge. You realize these people actually have never gotten these trainings. And yeah, the reception is huge, we can say so. And the adoption of this training is actually huge. Currently, we have a school which has actually decided to train all the 200 students as we are speaking right now. So, which we are planning for that training. It's going to take long for us to finish it. And we still have other projects which are there, other institutions. So, it's a huge gap which we are going to cover, and we are willing to do so. We are going to recruit more volunteers. Hopefully, I know also God, once you do something well, God blesses you and gives you resources to do it.
Yes, he does.
So yeah, I'm not worried. We're going to do it.
Yeah, all the best. I know you're going to succeed with this because anything you normally take on succeeds. But so I want to talk about the rates because we have traditional health and safety trainings. We know what the rates are, the market rates. So is this still the same? Are you applying the same in this new area?
Like the charges for training, or
and even the contact hours.
Well, for in terms of contact hours for the training, it's not the same as the statutory training hours which are provided. Some places take long, some take a short time. Others we do awareness, others we do for them committees. But in terms of finances for this project and our charges, we don't charge anyone for this training. It's free. It's part of us. Yeah, it's part of our giving to the society. So yeah, so that's why I'm saying we are putting in our resources into this, and it's just us wanting to deliver and break barriers in health and safety and have it reach out whatever it can reach. So we are not charging anyone for this. So anybody who needs this training can actually reach out to us, and we train them for free. We just schedule and we get our trainers there. So it's all onto us. So for them, they just have to avail people there.
So this is countrywide. It's regardless of where you are in Kenya.
Yes, it's countrywide. Yeah, everywhere in the country. We currently have projects running in Nairobi, Kiambu, and Mombasa. Others are booked in other counties, are waiting to be executed. Yeah.
This actually promises to be a big thing. I know for now you're offering it for free, but it's bound to really grow. One of the things I want to ask is, you've talked about the reception being very positive, but I bet there are challenges that you've encountered along the road.
Yes.
Are you able to share those with us?
One of the challenges which we are having are the modules and the way the normal training is used to be done. As I stated, there are communication barriers. There are things which you are told maybe in first aid, you tell somebody, oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me? You cannot do that with the deaf. So you find the other protocols of maybe action or even emergency response does not work with the deaf community. We wish that they could have access to even technology, which is like beepers, which vibrate in case of emergencies and all that. If one day we get maybe sponsors who can assist in acquiring this equipment for them, it will really help. So you find there are challenges in modes of communication for those people who are deaf in health and safety. So, and this gives us the bigger picture in that we need a curriculum which is actually tailored towards them. Yeah. But now, this curriculum, the person who understands how they need to receive the message is them. But now the people who have knowledge in health and safety is us. So you see, it calls for collaboration. And as I stated, is that we are actually learning a lot from them, as we are still going to train them and improving whatever we have to present to our learners. Yes. Yeah.
This is a groundbreaking initiative, as I said, and I know you've said it's countrywide, but what are the next steps for this project? What is the future looking like?
It's It's a nice question. And I don't think anybody should run any project without thinking its future. Yes. From what I see is that it's still going to be huge. In fact, the people who we've trained in health and safety normally, whatever you are training people, you need to do a refresher for them. So you see, the moment you started working with these people, it's a forever relationship. That's what I can say. We should be going there to do refreshers annually. So you can imagine covering the whole country and running all this project, because you are recruiting more, but the more you are recruiting more, the more you need to build and maintain these relationships with these organizations and these people. So I think the future is unlimited. We look forward in actually doing proper modules and proper materials for the deaf, like which are 100% customized, because currently we are using our knowledge and also we are modifying our forms of communication right now from the normal modules that we have and adopting it to what they can receive. But we need actually something that is 100% tailored to them. So that is in the process. And we really look forward to, being 100% part of them and having them understand the message directly and owning the message. And at the end of the day, health and safety is a culture. They need to own it. So yeah, that's what we are looking forward to.
And for anyone who wants to volunteer, I know you've said you're going to have to, bring on board more volunteers. Anyone who would want to volunteer for this, what are the channels?
We do have a project manager. She's called Jedida. She's the one like our lead trainer. So Jedida is the one who is doing recruitment of volunteers based on the resources that we have. So she's the one who guides us on the things to do. So I think I'm not so much, let me say, we don't do micromanaging. She manages her project. So she just comes and tells us we need X, Y, Z. If resources are there, we provide. So once these volunteers are onboarded, they get trained in health and safety. They need to complete our modules. The modules which we have modules for e-learning, online learning, and physical training at our office for practicals. And then they also undergo the modules for sign language in health and safety, which our team actually carries out. And then now they go to the field and train alongside now our main trainers. So it is a process, because you first need to train these people and make sure they are competent in health and safety. They actually do the exams, they pass, then they learn the sign language for OSH and how to deliver, and then you deploy them in the field. So it's a bit of a process for us, but it's working out. Yeah.
Ken, I want to take you back to the beginning when I asked you about the inspiration behind this or for this. Anytime you embark on doing something, either there's money involved in it. Clearly, there's no money involved in this. It's money coming out of your pockets to facilitate this. And sometimes it's about passion. And I feel like if you have a passion for something, it's what actually sustains. So for you in this case, what is actually driving you to do this?
Okay. Let me tell you something about me and the projects that I run. I don't decide at the end of the year that I'm going to do X, Y, Z. Everything that we are doing is planned 5, 4, 3 years ahead. As at now, I already know all the things we want to do next year. I'm not waiting for that 1st of December to make resolutions. I already have what I'm doing right now is I'm implementing. Actually, this year is 2025. So I'm actually implementing things which were already planned in the year 2022. Okay. This idea was conceived way back in 2021. We didn't have enough resources. We didn't have a correct pathway of working around it. It is a niche which we identify that actually these people need. We've been requested by some of the companies which we train. They're telling us we have like maybe 2, or we have a staff who is deaf and they need to be trained in health and safety, and we didn't have the capacity. So the trainer has to stand there on the side and an interpreter there, then all that. So we didn't have trainers who are actually health and safety sign language trainers, which we do have have right now. So right now we are at the implementing phase, as I'm saying. This is an idea which we had way back in 2021, and it has taken us all these years to actually implement it, because you need resources to actually do it. But we've planned our resources well, and we are able to sustain it. So what we are now working on is its growth. But whatever level we have right now is we are able to sustain the volunteers, we're able to sustain the trainers, but we wish we could do more. We can actually do 1,000% more. You'll just see what is coming up. Just follow our page for the Vital Science Project, and you'll see more which is coming up here.
By the way, guys, we'll share their social media handles and any relevant contacts in the description for this episode. Ken, if for anyone out here also who wants to support you, not just as a volunteer, but with financial support, what would that look like? What kind of support do you need specifically in that area?
Okay. Money.
Obviously.
Well, we just need support for our volunteers, and we don't have to be the ones. We really don't want so much to handle money. Money is also a sensitive thing, and that's why we have preferred to actually fund this thing, by ourselves. At least we are accountable. It's our own money. We can see the way we are managing it there. But if someone wants to help, we do have our budgets for our volunteers and our trainers. They usually need places to sleep. They usually need their allowances for the day. They need transport. So, and we also need resources and what do we say? This is now at a higher level scale, which is something also which we are looking forward to. Resources for these people who are trained, like even for companies, for those people who are deaf, whatever, like pagers, reading materials, we're looking forward to developing these things. So anybody who feels like they have an expertise in a certain line in assisting the deaf, in training the deaf, can come and help us. We are even open to ideas, not just even finances, especially ideas, because the main point here is we want things to work. We are results oriented. As long as someone has a process which makes things simpler, which makes things sustainable, we are looking into sustainability. We also don't want to run projects which are limited in terms of time limit, like you're running it for only 1 year and then you leave people hanging. They don't know what to do after that. So as I said, we are building relationships with these people, and I'm sure next year they'll want a refresher training. So our key expenses are facilitating our trainers to go to the field, training materials, and maybe resources for those people with these challenges. So if anyone can finance any of those and feels that they can step in, we are willing to have a talk, and see what we can work on.
Okay. Yeah. This is impressive what you're doing. The fact that this was planned in 2022, you said?
2021.
2021.
Yeah.
Impressive. So Ken, as I mentioned, our audience is hugely invested in this episode. I got so many questions in my inbox when I mentioned that I was recording this episode with you. There's so many young professionals entering the health and safety profession. They look up to you. They want to be Ken when they grow up. What advice would you, share with them?
Okay. Regarding young professionals and people who are joining the field now, I think they need to actually understand the way this field is huge and to actually understand the possibilities. Because what I see with a lot of people is they're following the path which is, created by the society. The path which the society creates is to educate you to actually replace, to actually become the same product of that person who is retiring. Because you see, for us as human beings, we are like machines of production. So if maybe a safety manager is retiring, someone else needs to be in the line, has moved maybe from a safety officer, safety supervisor, to a maybe senior safety officer, whatever, to now being a safety manager. So you need to actually understand the possibilities as a young professional. You need to understand the possibilities in OSH and look at the available opportunities. If I'm actually asked to actually go back into a career right now, I think I would still choose OSH. And I would explore a lot of these opportunities at an early age. There are many. I wish I knew when I was young. I didn't know. For us, for those of my age and maybe my age set, for us, we grew up and got educated. The main focus of our parents was to just join university and
Get a job.
get a job. Yeah, and getting to university was a big thing. It didn't actually matter the course which you are going to do. But when you look at right now, the reason why people are actually getting educated, many people are actually going to school, and at the end of the day, they get disappointed when they don't get jobs, because the purpose of education is to make you actually is to support you towards achievement of whatever things you like doing, or whatever kind of business or whatever kind of hobby that you have outside there. A main purpose of employment should not be to actually just get a job. Right now, there are a lot of unemployed graduates who are there who are there are more unemployed graduates than people who are employed. Another thing also young professionals need to look at is where the world is headed to. We are headed in a world which is more focused on technical skills than actually education. People who are in business don't care about your degree so much. They care about what are you producing outside here. When you look at developed countries right now, technical skills actually sell more than knowledge that you have on the paper. A plumber is actually getting paid well and they're getting a lot of business. A mason is actually doing a lot of work. A MUP operator or even a rope access technician is actually getting a lot of business and a lot of work than somebody. There's this argument between blue collar and white collar jobs, which is actually ongoing right now. So people should look at skill building right now, because that is actually what is needed. Because many of these things which are more paper focused and more let me just say paper focused, because we call it papers once you have graduated. Hey, I have these papers. So more of these paper focused items these are automated, and gone are the days whereby if I graduated in my village, I would be the only person who has that knowledge in OSH, because I was at the university library and I accessed that book of OSH. So right now, anybody in the village can actually take their phone and download the same book which I read in university. If they read, they still gain the same knowledge which I had. But now the difference would be skills. So what skills am I getting that is relevant to the modern world? What does the modern world want? Because paper is already automated. Risk assessment forms are automated. We don't need someone to design it. AI designs, artificial intelligence, AI right now designs very good forms more than, you just need to give the correct inputs there. It designs for you very good forms. You don't need someone to design it for us. So that is where the world is headed to. Another thing which young professionals also need to understand is how the world runs. The world, in Kiswahili, they say, mambo kwa ground ni different. When you come outside
That's
here,
a mix of English and Kiswahili, no? In English na Kiswahili.
English and Kiswahili. In Kiswahili, mambo kwa ground, ground is English. So in our local slang, they say mambo kwa ground is different. Yeah. Is that when you come to the real world, things are different. It's not what you see in the universities. It's not what you see in the classes. When you come outside here, the way businesses are run, the owners of these businesses are not people who sat in your class, or they're even people who sat in your class and took a very completely different route. Or it's someone who even did something in sociology, now owns a construction company. The world is run in it's a combination of economics, a combination of politics, and a combination of business interests. So we really need to understand how this world works. There is a lot of social engineering which is going on, which we don't really understand as professionals. We don't understand how the world works. And that is why safety professionals hardly make it to the boardroom because we don't understand the business. We are more of a support to the business, and we are not the business itself. When someone is opening a business, they're just thinking about, I want these licenses I want to get these licenses, let them get off my back, because I'm more focused on this production. But we are not making OSH part of that production. That is what we have not made it. We are not thinking in the mind of an investor. And that is why in the conference which we had in Zambia, in Zambia last year, AfriSafe, I told people that they need to see where the money is going to, because where are these investors taking this money, and what is their interest there, and are my skills actually skewed and even matching with the investors' interest? Is it? Is the world moving towards oil and gas? Is the world moving towards renewable energy? Is the world moving towards sustainability? Right now, sustainability is a big thing right now. It is. That is now people who actually invested in sustainability 5 years ago are reaping right now. But now, some of us are starting to prepare for this thing, which is now moving to something else. So we should invest for the future, not invest for the moment. So unless we are really interested to only work on the present and become irrelevant in future, then we can have a closed mindset. But I don't think that is what we are made of. So there's a lot of things which I can tell young professionals, but as they say, mwenye macho
Ambiwi tazama. That I know, yeah.
Aliye na sikio afanye nini?
Ambiwi sikia.
Asikie.
Yeah, Ken, you've also, most of us we aspire to be managers, you've said that. But if you look at our profession, we make it to that level where we are managers, and then either we disappear or we become so comfortable in those positions. And these are the people we're looking up to. So that the younger generation, what they're also aspiring to is to become managers, and then no one knows what's beyond that. So also, because you've been able to break this ceiling as an individual, what advice would you also give to seasoned professionals who've gotten to the level of being managers?
Yes. Now, this is a big disease, which I really wish we could get rid of, is being comfortable. In fact, the moment you're comfortable somewhere, there's a very big problem. You're not growing. If a car is just parked at the parking lot, it is clean, it has an air refreshener inside, and it's all in good working condition. It's just parked, then nothing is happening. But a car that has broken down, that has the shock absorbers broken, that means it moved somewhere. It is working towards meeting somewhere. Nothing moves without friction. I usually have a problem when I become comfortable and things are just working, and there's a problem somewhere. When I'm not having challenges, there's a problem somewhere. So people should really not be comfortable, and that is a big problem with senior professionals. Once somebody has reached a place, they're called a health and safety manager, and they are earning decent salary, they're able to maybe buy a car, buy a house, they're already 100% comfortable. But that means your growth is already limited. You've already limited yourself, and that is the end of you. So, and that is why one of the things that I stated is we need to understand how the business world works. Okay? If you're comfortable being a factor of production, then you have a problem. You need to be the production itself. In fact, you should, like I said, when we need to understand how a business works, we need to be part of that business. We need to be drivers of the business, not just people supporting the business. People who get satisfied and at a manager level, and we are not looking at how to get to the boardroom, then that means we've already curtailed our growth, and that is a very, very huge problem. I would advise also senior professionals to look for mentors. And this is something I've seen is these people get mentored when they are young. Once they've actually grown and they've gotten into companies that are paying them relatively well, and they've become comfortable. Now they've They don't have a business with other people. They don't want to mentor young professionals. They also don't want to seek mentorship because according to their mindset, they've already limited themselves and they think like, this is now it. I'm already there.
Tumefika.
But the world is extremely, people are doing humongous things, humongous projects. The funds that are there available for OSH projects is in billions and trillions. There's a lot of money outside there, which is moving into OSH. Why should you settle and just get satisfied at a manager level? So they should try and seek mentorship, talk to people who are up there, and even change our social cycles. Yeah.
Guys, this is why I wanted to bring Ken on board, because when Ken starts talking, he spews knowledge. And this is why we wanted him on this episode. So, Ken, thank you very much for agreeing to come on such a short notice again. But any parting shot that you may have for the audience?
I would say let us all embrace the power of now. If we learn about the power of doing things right now, is we understanding that time is the most limited resource on earth. Time is actually, you've heard of the quotation that says time is money. It's because there is no more time which is being manufactured. So it's important that if you want to make change in the society, do it right now. So we should learn the power of now and the power of doing things right now and being the change in the society that we want right now. There is no more time which is being manufactured.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So you guys have heard from Ken. One of the things he said and is really stressed on it is the power of now. This is the time we have. Ken has been able to identify a need for health and safety training for people with hearing impairment. There's no other time. It was now. Now was the right time to introduce this training. Now was the right time to implement this training. And I have a feeling it's going to be the biggest thing in Kenya. If you want to learn more about what Ken is doing with this initiative, we'll be sharing their social media handles. We'll also be sharing any relevant contacts in the description of this episode. Please don't forget to follow, to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please like, comment, and share. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.